স্বাগতম লুচেণ্ট আইছলৈকে। আজি আমি 19 মে 2025 কাৰেণ্ট এফেয়াৰ্ছ পাৰ্টটো ডিছকাছ কৰিম। আমাৰ প্ৰথমটো টপিক হ'ব অপাৰেশ্যন ঘোষ চিম। হোৱাট হেপেণ্ড ইন দ্য ৰিচেণ্ট টাইমছ চাম ফেক চিম কাৰ্ডছ ৱেৰ ইছ্যুড বাই পইণ্ট অফ চেলছ অপাৰেটৰ POS অপাৰেটৰ্ছ। POS অপাৰেটৰ্ছ মানে হ'ল যিবোৰ দোকানত চিম বিক্ৰী কৰে, অ'কে। আৰু বাই দিছ ফেক চিমছ ৱেৰ ইউজড for certain things which is anti-national আৰু ইণ্ডিয়াৰ এগেইনষ্টত, অ'কে। আৰু আছাম পুলিচে লঞ্চ কৰিছিলে অপাৰেশ্যন ঘোষ চিম। আৰু ঘোষ চিমবোৰ ক্ৰিয়েট কেনেকৈ কৰে অকণ জানিলেও এইখিনি মেইনছৰ কাৰণে বা এক্সামৰ কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট নহয়, জাষ্ট জানি থোৱাটো ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট, ইণ্টাৰভিউৰ কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব পাৰে। যেতিয়া কাষ্টমাৰ এখন চিম কাৰ্ড ল'বলৈ যায় তাতে ই-KYC আজিকালি কৰিব লগা হয়। দেন দ্য ফ্ৰডষ্টাৰ্ছ হোৱাট দে ডু, দে টেল দ্য কাষ্টমাৰ্ছ ডেট দিয়াৰ ই-KYC হেজ ফেইল। সেইকাৰণে আকৌ এবাৰ ই-KYC কৰিবলৈ আৰম্ভ কৰে। So by this method they generate two SIMs. এখন SIM customer দি দিয়ে আৰু second SIM, the ghost SIM is sold to cyber criminals. Okay, so 39 POS operators came under the radar of investigation agencies. আৰু ইয়াতে Home Ministry's I4C kept an eye on the SIM cards. Now I4C মানে কি হয়? Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. It's an initiative of the Ministry of Home Affairs, Govt of India to deal with cybercrime in the country in a coordinated and comprehensive manner. I4C focuses on tackling all the issues related to cybercrime for the citizens, which includes coordination between law enforcement agencies, stakeholders, driving change in India's overall capability to tackle cybercrime, etc. Okay, so prelims কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব পাৰে অপাৰেশ্যন ঘোষ চিম, মেইনছৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ GS3 চিকিউৰিটি পাৰ্টত আৰু GS5ৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব। Next is Hoti I Radhika, Hoti Radhika I. So she is one of the very few women who took the lead positions for social reforms. Okay, according to the previous oral tradition, she was born into a Koivota family, a caste group. Later she came into the fold of Vaishnavism. Okay. So she recognized as a symbol of resistance and sacrifice closely associated with the Mahapurush Srimata Shankardev. Actively participated in eradicating age-old superstitions and social evils. Key aspects challenging caste hierarchy. Okay, so কোৱা হয় যে fisherman community পৰা আহিছিলে and defies expectations by becoming a Hoti. Kshatriya tradition, the story of Hoti Radhika is rooted in the Assamese Kshatriya tradition, which emphasizes devotion, social justice and value of human labor. Symbol significance, the story of Hoti Radhika's ability to defy social norms and expectation through her devotion is a symbol of social justice and equality. আমাৰ এক্সামৰ কাৰণে বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব, প্ৰিলিমছৰ কাৰণে জাষ্ট Hoti Radhika ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব পাৰে, আৰু মেইনছৰ কাৰণে দ্য ছ'চিয়েল ৰিফৰ্মছ ইন দ্য মিডিয়েভেল পিৰিয়ড বা ওমেনলি ছ'চিয়েল ৰিফৰ্মছ ইন দ্য মিডিয়েভেল পিৰিয়ড, তাৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব পাৰে। নেক্সট ইজ ৰিগাৰ্ডিং প্ৰাইভেট অপাৰেটৰ ফৰ নিউক্লিয়াৰ এনাৰ্জি। Now, in nuclear energy push, Government of India to allow private operators limit their liability. Now, কিহৰ কাৰণে চাওক, SMR small modular reactor ওপৰত আমি আগতে পঢ়িছোঁ। ইট ইজ ভেৰি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট SMR। কিয় কোৱা হয় যে ফিউচাৰ জেনেৰেশ্যন ফিউচাৰ পাৱাৰ জেনেৰেশ্যনৰ কাৰণে বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট। 300 মেগাৱাট জেনেৰেট কৰিব পাৰে, ঠিক আছে এতিয়ালৈকে, বা সেইখিনি লিমিট বুলি কোৱা হয় SMRৰ কাৰণে। So India is on a cusp of transformation in its nuclear energy. Our government is planning two key legislative amendments aimed at opening up atomic energy generation to private and foreign players. Key act এখন হ'ল Amendment to Nuclear Liability Law, যিখন হ'ল Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. Currently, the law channels the liability for nuclear accidents to equipment vendors. কাৰ দুখ হ'ব এইটো liability এইটো হ'ব equipment vendors which has deterred okay, আৰু which has deterred many global such as Hitachi, Westinghouse, Framatome, etc. from investing in India. আৰু amendment কথা কি কোৱা হৈছে, এটা হ'ল cap the liability of vendors to the original failure of the contract. Introduce a time-bound liability window beyond which vendor will not be responsible. This is expected to reassure foreign investors by mitigating their long-term legal and financial risk. Okay. Now, next to whole amendment to Atomic Energy Act 1962. So it will allow private Indian companies and possibly foreign firms to operate nuclear power plants as generators, an activity currently reserved for state-owned entities like NPCIL and NCFC, etc. These will enable the public-private partnership in nuclear energy, open doors for minority equity participation by foreign firms in upcoming nuclear projects, increase competition, technology infusion, and investment in India's nuclear sector. Okay. So এটা হ'ল যে আমাৰ নিউক্লিয়াৰ লাইবিলিটি চ' তাতে আমাৰ কিছুমান ৰিফৰ্ম অনা হ'ব চ' ডেট এতিয়ালৈকে যিখিনি ডিটাৰ কৰিছে এটা ফৰেইন প্লেয়াৰ্ছ ডেট দ'জ পইণ্টছ কেন বি এড্ৰেছ দ্য ছেকেণ্ডটো হ'ল এটমিক এনাৰ্জি 1962 য'ত এতিয়ালৈকে অনলি পাব্লিক ছেক্টৰ এণ্টাইটিয়ে নিউক্লিয়াৰ এনাৰ্জি কামখিনি কৰিছে চ' টু ব্ৰিং ইন কম্পিটিশ্যন টেকনলজি ইনফিউজন এতিয়া প্ৰাইভেটৰ কাৰণে এলাউ কৰা হ'ব implications opening of the nuclear sector to private and foreign players could be pivotal moment for India's energy transition, especially as it aims to achieve net zero emission by 2070. Key implications কি আছে এটা হ'ল accelerated nuclear capacity addition, then clean energy, diversification of clean energy sources, or promotion of innovation through global technology partnerships. Okay, with the domestic manufacturing. So private sector এইখিনি মেইনছৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব. দেন এগেইন আমি যোৱাকালিও পঢ়িছোঁ নৰ্থ ইষ্ট কলকাতাৰ ৰুট ভায়া ম্যানমাৰ অ'কে নাও দিছ ইজ দ্য ৰুট কলিকতাৰ পৰা ক'ত যাব চিটুৱে পৰ্ট দিছ ইজ কালাদান মাল্টিমডাল প্ৰজেক্ট তাৰ পৰা কালেটুৱা জৰিনপুই লাংকলাই আইজল দেন শিলচৰ শ্বিলং এইটো আমাৰ প্ৰপ'জ হাই স্পীড কৰিডৰ নাও যদি আমি চাওঁ যে কিহৰ কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট ইন দ্য ৰিচেণ্ট টাইমছ দেয়াৰ ইজ এ ডিটেৰিয়েশ্যন অফ দ্য ৰিলেশ্যনশ্বিপ বিটুইন ইণ্ডিয়া এণ্ড বাংলাদেশ অ'কে আৰু নৰ্থ ইষ্টৰ এক্টিভ পাৰ্টিচিপেশ্যনৰ কাৰণে বা এক্টিভ পলিচি ইমপ্লিমেণ্টৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ এই কালাদান প্ৰজেক্ট বহুত বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হয় amid the downturn in India's relationship with Bangladesh, the long-delayed Kaladan multimodal transit transport project linking Mizoram to Kolkata via Myanmar has grown its importance. কিয় আমি এতিয়ালৈকে ভাবি আছিলোঁ যে ইয়াত আছে আমাৰ ৰামগড় পৰ্ট আছে দেন চিটাগং পৰ্ট আছে ৰাইট তো দিছ পৰ্টছ উইল বি কানেক্টেড টু ত্ৰিপুৰা ভায়া মৈত্ৰী ব্ৰিজ আৰু ত্ৰিপুৰাৰ লগত কানেক্ট কৰাৰ পিছত আমাৰ কি হ'ব আমি নৰ্থ ইষ্টত আমি কানেক্ট কৰিম চ' টি এক্সপৰ্ট এটচেট্ৰা ইয়াতে আমাৰ খৰচখিনি কমি যাব কিয় এতিয়ালৈকে আমি যাব লগা হৈছিলে এনেকৈ কলকাতা ইয়াৰ পৰা এক্সপৰ্ট হয় যদি আমি ইয়াতে আমি এক্সপৰ্ট কৰিব পাৰোঁ সাগৰৰ পৰা ডাইৰেক্ট তেনেহ'লে আমাৰ খৰচ বহুত কমি যাব ট্ৰান্সপৰ্টেশ্যন কষ্ট কমাৰ লগে লগে আমাৰ ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল মাৰ্কেটত আমাৰ প্ৰাইচ কমি যাব প্ৰাইচ কমাৰ লগে লগে আমাৰ বিক্ৰী বাঢ়ি যাব অ'কে বাট যিহেতু এতিয়া আমাৰ দেয়াৰ ইজ চাম ডিটাৰেঞ্চ আৰু দেয়াৰ ইজ চাম মানে some downturn in India-Bangladesh relation সেইটো কাৰণে আমি will be focusing morely on the Kaladan multimodal project. So Ministry of Road Transport and Highway has recently approved the high-speed corridor quote Shillong to Silchar. Now Kaladan project feasibility was studied in late 1990s. Our framework was signed in 2008. This was said to be a major development in India's strategically vital look-east policy. 2014 পৰা আমাৰ এক্ট-ইষ্ট পলিচি হৈছে The idea behind the project was to create a transit corridor from the port of Sitwe in the Rakhine state in Myanmar to Mizoram, eventually the rest of Northeast India. Okay. Now Rakhine state to আমাৰ এতিয়া আৰু এটা ইস্যু কি হয় that the Rohingya issue. Okay. Anyway, now it's a multimodal project, so it combines several modes of transport. কি কি এটা হ'ল কলকাতা to Sitwe. So 539 kilometer stretch of 2 seaports. ঠিক আছে covered by sea via Bay of Bengal. Next হ'ল Sitwe to Paletua. 158 kilometer stretch on the Kaladan River in Myanmar will be covered by boat. Okay. Next হ'ল Paletua to Jorinpui. 108 kilometer 4-lane road will be the last leg of the corridor in Myanmar. Myanmar has granted all the approvals. Okay. Then Jorinpui to Aizol and beyond. Jorinpui is connected to Aizol and rest of the northeast by road. So government is planning to extend the high-speed corridor from Shillong to the border town. Okay. So তাৰ পৰা আমাৰ নৰ্থ ইষ্টত আমাৰ ট্ৰেডৰ কাৰণে আমি আগবাঢ়িব পাৰিম চ' আই থিংক মেইনছৰ কাৰণে ইট ইজ ওৱান অফ দ্য মষ্ট প্ৰবেবল টপিক প্ৰিলিমছৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ কালাদান প্ৰজেক্ট কি কি হুইচ অফ দ্য প্লেচেছ কানেক্ট কৰে সেইখিনি বস্তু প্ৰিলিমছৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব নেক্সট ওৱান ইজ দ্য 5-point কল ফৰ দ্য হিমালয়ান ইক'ছিষ্টেম তো ইউনিয়ন মিনিষ্টাৰ শ্ৰী ভূপিন্দৰ যাদৱ আউটলাইনছ এ 5-point call for global action to protect fragile Himalayan ecosystems in the first Sagarmatha Samvad in Kathmandu. Okay, it was outlined in the first Sagarmatha Samvad organized in Kathmandu under the theme Climate Change, Mountains and Future of Humanity. Sambar is a name after the world's tallest mountain, Sagarmatha. Okay. So, need to protect Himalaya, crucial for livelihood of about 1.3 billion Indians people. 5-point collection ki eta hol enhance scientific cooperation, research collaboration, monitoring, cryospheric changes, hydrological sciences, etc. Building climate resilience, investing in early warning systems for disasters like glacial lake outbursts, floods, climate resilient infrastructure, etc. Empowering mountain communities, ensuring welfare, needs, aspirations for local communities, providing green finance, and recognizing mountain perspective. So, now recently I joakali poricilo regarding date of one of the ice peak. Okay. Now glacier. So etia jodi Himalaya imankhini impact porise due to climate change. So definitely I step lobo lage. Right. The 5-point agenda covers all the important elements such as at a whole new research for climate change, then our resilient infrastructure, empowering the communities jikhini yar irekin thake, providing green finance for resilience infra and the community, or recognizing mountain that means unique vulnerabilities and contributions of the mountains ecosystem. So yate amar climate change, finance, the social justice gotekhini bostu ami ekeleke ani loi anisu. The next is the global support team. Now ki hoy to mobilize global support for Operation Sindoor, government forms 7 all party teams, 3 led by opposition leaders. So in the context of Operation Sindoor and India's continued fight across cross-border terrorism, 7 all party delegations are set to visit key partner countries including members of UN Security Council later this month. Okay. Now Kyo important because this line is very, the all party delegations will project India's national consensus and resolute approach to combating terrorism in all forms and manifestations. They would carry forth to the world the country's strong message of zero tolerance against terrorism. Okay. So these are the members. Now why it is important? Here importance our bahut kita ase. Eta hol je amar unity. Okay. So unity of all the parties. আমি ইয়াতে বেলেগ বেলেগ পাৰ্টিৰ মুদ্দা আমি আনা নাই, আমি নেশ্যনেল মুদ্দাটো আমি আগত ৰাখিছোঁ। দেন যিখিনি আমাৰ ফ্ৰেণ্ডলিনেছ আছে তেওঁলোকক ট্ৰাষ্টটো দিয়াটো আৰু মানে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হয়। ফৰ ট্ৰাষ্ট বিল্ডিং দেট ইজ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট। অ'কে, চ' ইণ্ডিয়া চিজ পাৰ্টিচিপেশ্যন ফ্ৰম both ruling and opposition party, a gesture which hailed as a show of national unity. Next to all, this delegation represent India's national consensus আৰু zero tolerance approach to terrorism. Lastটো হ'ল they will collectively engage with representatives of all the major world capitals including 4 of the 5 permanent members of UN Security Council excluding China. The countries being covered range from US, UK, EU nations to key partners in West Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa and Latin America. Okay. Now mainsৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ কি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হ'ব যে what is the significant to hold এটা হ'ল unity, এটা হ'ল national consensus, এটা হ'ল zero tolerance against terrorism, লাষ্টটো হ'ল collective engagement with the friendly countries. Okay, that is a diplomacy. Next is what is presidential reference. It is a constitutional mechanism under Article 143 of the Constitution, wherein President of India seeks the advisory opinion of Supreme Court on important questions of law or fact. Supreme Court reply দিব পাৰে নিদিব পাৰে। It enables the executive to seek judicial clarity on complex constitutional matters without initiating litigation. Duta components 143 clause 1 allows president to refer any question of law or fact of public importance to Supreme Court. Or next to whole Article 143 clause 2 pertains to disputes involving pre-constitutional treaties and agreements permitting the president to refer such matters for clarification. Nature of opinion, Supreme Court's opinion is not binding on the president. It does not carry presidential value but holds strong persuasive authority usually followed by executive judiciary. Origin, Govt of India Act 1935. Procedure for reference, president refers to the advice of the Union Council of Ministers as per Article 145. A minimum 5 judge bench of Supreme Court must hear the matter. Court's discretion, court may choose whether or not to answer the reference. It can refuse to respond. Global comparison, Canada allows similar advisory reference to Supreme Court of Canada. US, it does not permit advisory opinions and it respects the strict separation of power. Okay. তো আমাৰ এইটো প্ৰিলিমছৰ কাৰণেও ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট, মেইনছৰ কাৰণেও ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট, ইণ্টাৰভিউৰ কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট। আৰ্টিকেল 143, আৰ্টিকেল 145, গভট অফ ইণ্ডিয়া 1935, অল দিছ আৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট। নেক্সট দ্য কাশ্মীৰ ইছ্যু। Now, did Trump cross the line on Kashmir issue? What does internationalization means? Okay, it's a article from The Hindu. Okay, so ইয়াত কোৱা হৈছে যে India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru is accused of the original internationalization of the Kashmir dispute after India went to UN Security Council against Pakistan's illegal acquisition of POK in December 1947. কোৱা হয় যে জৱাহৰলাল নেহৰুৱে যেতিয়া আমাৰ UNSCত গুচি গ'ল এগেইনষ্ট পাকিস্তান, দেন it started the internationalization of the Kashmir issue. An offer by Nehru to hold a plebiscite, okay, তাৰমানে voting in Kashmir Valley was contingent on Pakistan vacating POK and was shelved thereafter. However, diplomat Rajiv Dogra in his book said that how Prime Minister saved foreign policy. Nehru made it clear in Parliament that he had only asked to end Pakistan's aggression, not to seek arbitration or adjust the validity of Kashmir accession, but even broaden the scope of inquiry. Okay. Now, has any third party ever mediated before in the Kashmir issue? Main so important hoy de. The Simla Accord made UN process of Nehru invoke irrelevant. Tamane Simla Accord between India and Pakistan 1974, it made the previous action by Nehru irrelevant. Global powers have been more difficult to keep out of trying to intervene. However, whenever tensions between India and Pakistan run high, jetia amar kajia lage, countries like US, UK, UAE, Saudi Arabia establish parallel lines to both the capitals, carrying messages between them until there is a pause in the military action, like in the case of Operation Sindhu. The previous attempts at mediation were by Soviet Union, which hosted ceasefire talks to end the 1965 war. So, with the signing of Tashkent Declaration, okay, important. Next to hold, during the Kargil War in 1999, US President Bill Clinton tried to call Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Washington to meet Nawaz Sharif, but Mr. Vajpayee told Parliament that he refused the offer. Okay, so 1999 Kargil War সময়তো আমাৰ Prime Minister মাতিছিলে US President, but our Prime Minister এইটো রিফিউজ কৰিছিলে আৰু on a day trip to Islamabad after his visit to Delhi in 2000, Mr. Clinton gave a radio address saying that US will not mediate on Kashmir conflict. Okay, so 1999 US President gave the statement যে Kashmir conflict USA আৰু মাত নিদিয়ে. Okay, which was its position until 2019. Okay, so 99 to 2019, this was the issue. Before that, Soviet Union intervened closely in 1965. There is a Tashkent agreement. After the Balakot case, 2019, President Trump, during his first term, announced that he had negotiated and the release of Wing Commander Abhinandan, who has been captured in Pakistan. Subsequently, offered mediation on Kashmir issue. Most avenues of direct dialogue between India and Pakistan has been closed since 2015, when External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj visited Islamabad. India's position, in India's view, any third party involvement is not just unnecessary but also legally inappropriate. Okay, so India's position to hold যে কাশ্মীৰত থাৰ্ড পাৰ্টি ইয়াতে আহিব নালাগে, ইনভলভমেণ্ট নালাগে। আৰু যদি আমি হিষ্টৰিকেলি চাওঁ যে চিমলা একৰ্ডৰ পৰা 1974 পৰা আমাৰ আগৰ যিখিনি নেহৰু ষ্টেপ আছিলে যে UNSCত মিডিয়েশ্যন, সেইটো আমাৰ ডেট বিকামছ নাল এণ্ড ভইড। আৰু তাৰ আগত 1965 টাস্কেণ্ট এগ্ৰিমেণ্ট, Soviet Union tried to mediate. Or starting from 1999, Clinton, the US President, then US President, he said that US will not intervene, which was the position till 2019. After 2019, Trump যেতিয়া আহিলে, he said he offered to mediate on the Kashmir issue. যেতিয়াৰ পৰা আমাৰ আৰম্ভ হ'ল আকৌ। Now, the Simla Agreement, signed on 1972, was a significant diplomatic effort between India and Pakistan following 1971 Indo-Pak War. Okay, আৰু clause 1 কোৱা আছে, two countries are resolved to settle their differences by peaceful means through bilateral negotiations or by any peaceful means mutually agreed upon between them. So Kashmir issue will be mutually solved by the India and Pakistan. pending the final settlement of any problems between the two countries, neither side shall unilaterally alter the situation, and both shall prevent the organization, assistance or encouragement of such acts detrimental. Okay, so এইটো হ'ল আমাৰ Simla Agreement. যদি আমি চাওঁ কি মাইলস্টোন 1947 India Pakistan gained independence, and later Pakistan occupied the POK. After that 1965 Task Agreement, 1971-72 Simla Agreement, 1999 Kargil War পৰা again USA ক'লে তেওঁলোকে mediate নকৰে বা তেওঁলোকে মাত নামাতে Kashmir issue. 2019 after the Balakot, does US change their stance? India official stand কি হয়? India reaffirmed Jammu and Kashmir's bilateral issue. Ministry of External Affairs stated that the matter must be resolved within the framework of bilateral ties without third-party mediation. Okay. Focus on Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson recently clarified that India's only concern is the vacation of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. India considers POK as illegally occupied Indian territory. So Donald Trump, US President, he claimed involvement in reducing hostilities, or he wanted to mediate. India's response: India rejected the third-party interference, especially from global powers like US. So এতিয়া India's stand to হ'ল আমাক কোনো থাৰ্ড পাৰ্টি ইনভলভ হ'ব নালাগে, ইটছ এ বায়'লেটাৰেল প্ৰব্লেম. অ'কে, চ' এইটো ক্ষেত্ৰত 1947 দেন লিটাৰ UNSC Jawaharlal Nehru step, আফটাৰ ডেট 1965 Tashkent, 1971-72 Simla Agreement, 1999 Kargil আৰু 2019 Balakot. অল দিছ আৰ ষ্টেপ বাই ষ্টেপ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হয়. Manuscript Mission তো কি হয়? Okay, so manuscript is a handwritten document crafted on material like paper, bark, palm leaves, which is at least 75 years old and holds notable scientific, historical or artistic importance. Example, Baksali manuscript dating back to 3rd or 4th century BCE is an ancient manuscript text on mathematics written on bark. So research has revealed that Baksali manuscript features the earliest known instance of mathematical symbol 0. Now, what is Gyan Bharatam Mission? So, the Gyan Bharatam Mission is a comprehensive national initiative under the Ministry of Culture, Govt of India, dedicated to the systematic survey, documentation, conservation and digitization of India's vast manuscript heritage. Okay, so it is launched কি হৰ কাৰণে এটা হ'ল systematic survey, documentation, conservation and digitization. These are the 4 steps. Okay. The mission builds upon and revamps the earlier national mission for manuscripts established in 2003. Objective: to survey, document, conserve and digitize. আমি এটা অলরেডি গম পালো. ফিচাৰ কি আছে? এটা হ'ল মেছিভ কভাৰেজ, টাৰ্গেটছ more than 1 crore manuscripts. Digital repository, establishment of a centralized, accessible digital platform for India's traditional knowledge systems, enabling AI-driven archiving, metadata tagging and translation tools. Collaboration, active engagement with academic institutions, museums, libraries, private collectors, international organizations, etc. Modern conservation, adoption of advanced scientific technique, AI, etc. Budget support, budget allocation for the mission increased from 3.5 crore to 60 crore, with total outlay of 482.85 crore. Public access, manuscripts will be made accessible for academic research, education, public knowledge, both nationally and globally. Okay. So manuscript mission is important, Gyan Bharatam mission important prelims কাৰণে মেইনছৰ কাৰণে. In the same aspect, আমি আকৌবাৰ চাই লওঁ যে manuscript of Bhagavad Gita, Natyashastra inscribed on UNESCO's Memory of World Register. So recently, with the inclusion of Gita and Natyashastra, India has now 14 entities by entries in the register. Kuntu register UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. India's Rig Veda, Gilgit manuscript, manuscript of Abhinavgupta, Maitreya Vyakarna, etc. have been included in the register. Universal Declaration of Human Rights proclaimed by UN General Assembly page 1948 is also among the new entries in the register. Prelims are important. So Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata, specifically within the Bhishma Parva, chapter 23 to 40. It is structured as dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It is considered to be composed in the 2nd century or 1st century BC, comprises 700 verses across 18 chapters. Natyashastra, preserved at the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, considered the essence of Naitya Veda, an oral tradition of performing arts comprising 37 verses, known as the Gandharva Veda. It deals with drama, Naitya, performance, Vinaya, aesthetic emotion, Rasa, feeling, Vava and music, Sangita, believed to have been codified around 2nd century BC by Bharat Muni in Sanskrit. So prelims কাৰণে আমাৰ important হয়. Government school enrollment drops in 23 states. So it's a issue in the education. Okay, GS2 social justice কাৰণে important. Prelims কাৰণে ইমান বেছি important নহয়. So Ministry of Education has flagged a steep decline in enrollment in government and government-aided schools at the primary and upper primary level across 23 states and UTs in 2024-25. Okay. So PM Posan overview. PM Posan, formerly known as the midday meal scheme. Target group pre-primary to class 8. Objective: address child nutrition, enhance school attendance, improve learning outcomes and attention spans. Funding pattern: center states share 60-40 ratio. Center provides food grain. Now, as per that data, the reasons behind decline is the whole data cleansing and methodological changes. Shifting from aggregate school-wise data to student-wise reporting includes name, address, other details, etc. Led to the removal of ghost entries, revealing more accurate figures. Shift to private schools. Post-COVID reversal of enrollment trends, students shifting from government to private schools. So, যদি আমি ইয়াত চাওঁ ইয়াৰ পজিটিভ আছে, এটা পজিটিভ কি যে আমাৰ যিখিনি আমাৰ ঘোষ ডাটা সেইখিনি আমাৰ ডিলিট হৈছে, সেইকাৰণে ইটছ এ ডিক্লাইন. আৰু ছেকেণ্ডটো হ'ল শিফটিং অফ ষ্টুডেণ্টছ ফ্ৰম পাব্লিক টু প্ৰাইভেট স্কুলছ. এনিৱে, তো ইউপি top 5 states, one is UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, West Bengal and Karnataka. Just prelims কাৰণে important হ'ব পাৰে. Okay, so this is the last topic. সেইটো হ'ল Assam's Kingchuk Moran wins G Cine Award for expert sound design in Street 2. Gili Soike honored with Sansad Ratna Award for Parliamentary Excellence. New Caledonia তেওঁলোকৰ movement for independence আৰু এটা হ'ল cause of pesky failure made in solid state lithium iron batteries found. So it's a very big discovery. So কিহৰ কাৰণে হৈ আছিলে? The solid state batteries use solid electrolytes, offering longer life, higher energy density and better safety than liquid ones. But the lithium dendrites form on the anode and pierce the electrolyte, short circuit the battery over the time. So this is the main issue. So over the পিছলৈকে চাগে এইখিনি আকৌ এড্ৰেছ কৰিব. If one can address this, then definitely the lithium batteries will become more safe. This is all about today's current affairs. We'll again meet tomorrow. Thank you.